What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel. I'm Ken, and today we are going to be diving into Highlander on 4K from Lionsgate. Look at this beautiful slipcover right here. We're going to be talking about Highlander. So we are about to exit the year of 2022. We're about to close the chapter on the year. So I wanted to get one more review out for you guys of a 2022 release. And I was thinking to myself, if I can only do one more 4K review, there can be only one, and it has to be Highlander on 4K. You see what I did there? There can be only one 4K review that I can do for the rest of this year. So yeah, we're going to talk about Highlander on 4K. This one came out a couple of weeks ago, but I went on vacation, didn't get a chance to watch it until a couple of nights ago. So we're going to talk about this one. We're going to dive into this for release, the picture quality, my thoughts on the movie, sound and packaging, special features, all that good stuff. But look, before we get into it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I talk about physical media, Blu-rays and 4Ks, all that kind of stuff on this channel, owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me. So if you like that kind of thing, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. Also hit the like button, and then comment down below, guys, if you've seen Highlander, what's your thoughts on it? A lot of people say they love this movie. It's one of their favorite movies from the 80s. Let me know if it is one of yours in that comment section below. And then let me know if you, bought this slipcover 4K version. This was $12.50 when it came out, and now it's gone back up. You can get this 4K right now for $17.25 with a $2.86 off coupon on Amazon. So I do want to point that out as well. Maybe that's not available now when I put this up, but as of right now, a $2.86 coupon is on Amazon for this. So I will link that down below in the description. And also there's a 4K Steelbook, which I am hoping to get soon. I do want to double dip on this because it's an awesome Steelbook. It's a Lionsgate Steelbook, so of course it's awesome. That is $21.99, and there are still copies available on Best Buy. So I'm going to link that down below as well. So yeah, let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about the movie Highlander real quick, real briefly. This is a movie from 1986, directed by Russell Mulcahy, I think is how you pronounce it. Also starring Christopher Lambert, who I know from the 1995 Mortal Kombat as Connor McLeod. You also got Sean Connery in this movie as Ramirez, and Clancy Brown as the villain Kurgan. So I enjoyed this movie for what it was. Look, I'm not going to say I did not like this movie. I enjoyed it for what it was, but for the way that everybody was hyping this up, like I was just expecting something a little bit different. This is the perfect example of a movie that is just very rooted in nostalgia. I feel like the people that love this movie are just so like in so deep with this film. Like they grew up with it, like they came up with this movie. It is an 80s movie. It feels very 80s. And I love the 80s. I love movies from the 80s. You open up, you got the fabulous Freebirds walking out. Michael P. Hayes, I believe his name is. I used to be a big pro wrestling fan back in the day, coming out. You got Queen, the Queen soundtrack, which we'll talk about again here in a second. It is very 80s. So I get it. I completely get it. But I feel like this is one that you almost had to grow up with to really appreciate. I wouldn't call it like a great I was just expecting something different. I was expecting something a little bit more epic, and it was kind of cheesy. It was kind of schlocky, and it was kind of, I hate to use all these words. People don't like it when I use these words, but it was corny. And a little bit goofy in some scenes, but I just thought it was going to be something different. And it's good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was not the masterpiece that I feel like I was hyped up to expect it to be. So yeah, that's the Band-Aid that I just pulled off. I'm sorry if you love this movie. I'm not taking anything away from you. I didn't love it. The editing and pacing was really all over the place for the first 30 minutes of this movie. I did not enjoy this at all. Like for the first 20 minutes, from the Madison Square Garden stuff, and then they did the flashbacks and they were jumping back and forth, and I got what they were doing, got what they were going for, and the story is pretty cool. Like I did enjoy the story, but it was so choppy, it was so fast-paced, the editing was just so like all over the place and bad in my opinion. And I just didn't enjoy it at all until Sean Connery came to the pictures, and then it slowed down a little bit. The story was allowed to breathe, and I kind of got into the characters for the first time in the entire movie. And Sean Connery is just like a next level actor, so you can't help but enjoy his performance and what he brings to just any movie and role that he's in. So I enjoyed it when Sean Connery came in. You know, I like the story of the immortal warrior that, you know, can't die, and he's forced to live through all of these different time periods over the course of like 400-500 years. That's very interesting, and it kind of goes into you know, the pros and the cons of that, the disadvantages of that. It kind of goes through the hardships of that, how he's been married, he's lost the love of his life. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. I just don't think that the filmmaker necessarily handled the material as well as I think that he could have. So the performances outside of Sean Connery were all pretty awful to me. I did not like or enjoy. And Clancy Brown, I came around to enjoy towards the end of the movie. I just thought that, you know, when we were first introduced to him, like, he's just so over the top. And he's over the top the entire movie. By the time we get to the end, I guess I was just kind of used to it, and I started to enjoy what he was doing. And he's a great actor anyway, so not taking anything away from him. But Christopher Lambert, look, I'll give him a little bit of a pass because I know I learned this from the special features. I did not know this, but he could barely speak English. I think he's Swedish or something. I kind of give him a pass for his performance, but at the same time, if you're the director, maybe get a better actor. Maybe get a guy that can actually speak the lines. First, it's almost like when I was watching the special features, the director's like, he just had the look, so I had to catch him. I didn't care if he spoke English or not. But again, it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people love this movie. A lot of people love Christopher Lambert in this role. I found him to be awful in the film as the lead of the movie. He was just very bad. But again, he didn't speak very good English, so it's understandable that he wasn't the best. And lastly, I love Queen. I love a good Queen song, a good Queen soundtrack. This soundtrack did not fit the tone of this movie at all. It didn't work. Maybe it did. I don't know, but it just, for some reason, whenever Queen came on, like, I love the score in this movie. The actual, like, score of the film is incredible. But the Queen music, it just did not work for me. So overall, look, I like this movie. I did, but as an overall score, it's very mediocre to me as a film. I would give this a 3 out of 5. There are some very iconic moments and scenes. I love all the stuff at the end with the battle with him and Clancy Brown. Just the iconic, like him up like this and the blue lights and the lightning all shining. That's all really cool. There's some cool imagery. There's some cool stuff that happens in this movie for sure. But it's not what I would call a traditionally good movie. So let's go ahead and get into the 4K transfer on this one. So this is a really solid 4K restoration that was previously done by Studio Canal and then put out through Lionsgate in the United States. And that usually happens. It's happened before with a Total Recall. Studio Canal put that over. I think it's some kind of deal with Studio Canal and Canon Pictures, and then Lionsgate gets the distribution rights in the US, obviously, because Studio Canal only puts stuff out in the UK. So Lionsgate does it through the US. But the actual restoration was done by Studio Canal. They actually did the restoration, the 4K scan, back in 2016 on a Blu-ray, and now they're just doing the 4K disc. And the 4K Studio Canal one actually came out, I think, at the end of October or early November. I can't remember exactly which one, but that release, like, is a stunning, like, box set release. We did not get that level of treatment over here. They definitely got the better release as far as, like, packaging and just, like, overall, like, big box set treatment. This is, you know, it has Dolby Vision, HDR10, a really good 4K restoration, really solid. It's not perfect. There's definitely some imperfections here. There are some sequences, if you're a grain hater, you're probably not going to be too high on this. There are sequences of very heavy grain. But again, I'm not against grain as long as you can maintain that HDR and still let me know that I'm watching this movie in 4K, but also let me know that I'm watching a film as well that was actually shot and filmed on film, then I'm okay with it. But again, there are some very heavy, very grainy sequences in this 4K. There's a few rough patches as well that almost look VHS quality that I have to imagine they just couldn't completely restore it. So I don't think that was the issue. From what I understand, this is a very cheaply made film, so I don't imagine they were using the best cameras when it came to filming this. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass there. I think overall this looks beautiful. I think that you know, for the most part, this is incredibly detailed. It has some very stunning scenery and cinematography that really allow the colors to truly shine through that HDR. You know, you have the deep reds on Sean Connery's jacket that just look excellent. When you first see Sean Connery wearing that outfit, it just looks fantastic in the HDR. The green hills of the Scottish countryside just look excellent. There's some great scenery in this, some incredible facial detail. There's a lot of close-ups on people in this film, and all that stuff looks fantastic. So overall, I think it might be a little inconsistent as far as the transfer, because you have those heavy sequences of grain and then you have some like crystal clear picture quality. I still think it's a very good transfer overall. I think the HDR is firing on all cylinders just all throughout this presentation. So it's definitely the best, I can promise you, because I popped in that Blu-ray for a little bit to see the differences. It's definitely the best that Highlander has ever looked. So if you're a fan of this movie, I cannot imagine that you won't be pleased with this transfer, because it really has not looked any better than it does right here. And again, this is a first time watch for me, so I'm watching the film in the best possible format. I don't know what it looked like in DVD. I don't know what it looked like in the theaters back in the day. I don't know what it looks like on Blu-ray other than the parts that I watched for this review, but it looked fantastic in comparison to that Blu-ray when I compared the two. So, but again, really great transfer. I think that Studio Canal and Lionsgate did a good job restoring this classic film for everybody to enjoy. So let's get into the sound real quick. So the sound, you do have two audio choices. You have DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 and you have DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. So I listened to the 5.1 sound on this one. I thought everything sounded great. Like I said, you have that Queen soundtrack that I didn't enjoy. I didn't think it fit with the film, but it sounds phenomenal throughout this movie. A lot of great fight sequences and special effects heavy moments that I thought everything sounded fantastic. You got a lot of good sword fights that sound great with that sound, that 5.1 sound. Let's go ahead and get into the packaging, the slipcover of this edition, because I really think this is a phenomenal slipcover right here. Just gorgeous artwork on the cover. I'll go ahead and show the back as well, and you have all the, you have the three main characters. You have Sean Connery, Clancy Brown, Christopher Lambert right there. There can be only one. You got the synopsis. I'll kind of zoom up a little bit, show you all some of the other stuff. But on the front, you do have Highlander that is embossed right here. You have another embossing up there towards the top that says, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says there can be only one, and that's embossed, and it kind of goes in with the other artwork, which I think is super cool. I love how Lionsgate on their 4K, they don't have that big banner at the top. They just have the 4K Ultra HD with a real small font, the Blu-ray and the digital code. So yeah, you do get a Blu-ray, you get a digital code, and you get the 4K in this set. So I'll show you the actual case itself. So really great. And right here you have the casting list. So yeah, just like overall, this is great. And I actually forgot about this, but you have art cards on the inside. And I might actually talk about this in a future video, but like you're getting all this. This came out on release date at $12.50. This edition came out at $12.50. And this is almost like boutique level quality. And again, you're also getting a digital code that's crazy. But I'll show you the disc art right here. Just really great disc art on this one. So Lionsgate just really knocked it out of the park in terms of, presentation right here. And again, this came out at $12.50. Like there's some boutique releases, like Scream Factory doesn't even do this kind of stuff. And they charge $36.99 for a new release off their site. They don't have art cards or digital code or anything like that. They don't even do reversible cover art anymore. And this is, to me, is far nicer of a slipcover than anything that Scream Factory's been putting out. So got to give them credit there. But let's get into what I believe is the big selling point right here for this release, and that is these special features. And it's something I've been calling out studios for all year long, even boutique labels. There are new special features on this release. And yes, they were done by Studio Canal and put out first on that release, but that release just came out and they were ported over to these Lionsgate releases. So these are pretty much brand new special features that are being put out on these, Studio Canal and Lionsgate releases. And they are amazing. There are some amazing new special features. There is a new The Immortal Attraction of Highlander, looking back at 4 decades of Highlander magic. This is a hour-long documentary on the making of Highlander, and it involves everybody except for Sean Connery, because of course he's not alive anymore, so it couldn't be involved. But you have the director, you have the writer, you have the producer, you have Christopher Lambert, you have Clancy Brown, you have a couple of the actresses that were in this movie as well. almost everybody that was involved in the making of this film getting together for this documentary, just talking about this movie. And it's incredible that they were able to do this. I wish they did this kind of stuff. Again, guys, this was $12.50 when it came out. I wish they could do this kind of stuff with other releases. Like the boutique labels put out new 4Ks and they haven't done a restoration on the film in like 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and they don't do anything new. But Lionsgate Studio can now put brand new special features on here. But that's not it. The hour-long documentary, you also get some other interviews as well, like Kind of Magic, Music of the Immortals, a featurette on the soundtrack, so you get to learn how they got Queen to do the soundtrack for this film. It's really a great story as well. You get the There Can Be Only One Kurgan, Clancy Brown Remembers Highlander, which is a really great interview with Clancy Brown. New Capturing Immortality interview with the photographer David James. And you also get a new audio commentary in this release as well with author John Melville. And you also get the two pre-existing commentaries also with William Panzer and Bill Davis. So guys, to me, like, that is amazing in and of itself. If you're a fan of Highlander, like, you're not just getting a really great 4K presentation, you are also getting a bunch of new special features. So for me, for the cost of this, and again, even at $17.25, what it is now, like, this is a no-brainer. Pick this up, especially if you're a fan of the movie. I cannot recommend this release enough. Even though I wasn't the highest on the actual movie, I appreciate this release so much. To me, it is one of the best, like, overall in terms of like packaging and features releases of the entire year. Like, this is a great release with great features, great restoration. So I absolutely recommend that you pick up Highlander on 4K. And with that, guys, I appreciate you watching my review of Highlander on 4K. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts on the movie. Let me have it on my thoughts on the movie. Let me have it in that comment section below. I know you got something to say about it. Let me have it in that comment section below. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.